Sometimes Pinterest takes me down rabbit holes and I always enjoy it. And Kawandi is one of them. For some reason, it threw up that search idea and I lost it and then I found it again. Because usually I'm looking for patchwork stuff. So then I ended up looking it up actually on Google and it pulled up some interesting things. Very briefly, Kawandi or Seeee-Dee style of quilting originated from the Seeee-Dee community of Karnataka, India. I'm terrible with it. And it's just pretty much sewing leftover bits and pieces onto what you have, and not necessarily with batting. And you can pause here and there to read it, but it's on Wikipedia. And then there's the references. Then here's the link to Quirks Limited. They have a link here that I hit later on, but it goes about what Kawandi CD quilting is as well. And this is where that link from the Quirks Limited article goes to. And it's worth a read. And again, pause it, read it, enjoy it, find it yourself. Then I found the Museum of African Diaspora, and I would have loved if they had kept their pictures, but it's from 2011. So it makes sense they don't still have those because they were copyright, but the article is excellent. So I had this book digitally, but it wouldn't let me share really. So I was able to get this from Interlibrary Loan. Quilt As You Go by Carolyn Forster. And it came out, I think, in 2022. Where are you? Yeah, first published 2022. There you go. And that article refers to this book. Get there some point. Okay, let's look at the table of contents. Let's see. Page 100. Working the patchwork, making the mini quilt. So it's 100. And it's, quilt as you go. So you make them as you go. Here's her version. With the flowers on the top, on the corners, which I'm not going to do. And it says, Siddi or Kawandi quilts come from the western part of India below Pakistan and are made by people of African descent who came to India through enslavement by the Portuguese in the 16th century. These Siddi people live in North Karnataka, and each tribe is said to make a quilt with their own style and characteristics. So, I'll just leave that right there, and you can pause it to read it. And I too have to actually read through it. But one thing it fails to mention, I mentioned this at work, which I happen to work at a quilt store. Their notions, they don't actually mention color, and someone who I really trust in this, who I think took a class in this with people, and you'll see that I'll pull up pictures of, there's no pictures, but the article is still out there from a while back about an exhibit they had of their own in another town. And I'll let you pause and read through this one too, but I don't think you'll be able to. But I'll include, you know, pictures of it. But it's pretty. It's very pretty. But I feel it's too simple. It kind of simplifies things. But it is, when you think about it, it's simple. I mean, not simple, but... And I really like the concept. But one thing they don't mention, they usually go loosey-goosey with the color, and from what I saw, well, what she told me was white cotton all the time, white thread. It's truly white thread. So I'm going to do a little more research on that. I mean, here she used variegated, and I think variegated makes sense because I love variegated yarn. Variegated thread, variegated yarn, all of that nifty stuff. Ooh, and that must be her belly. And there's something I don't think she mentions here either, which is the belly. Oh, no, she does. As you get closer to the center, I begin to addition the patch that I would like to see there. The last few central patches will most likely have 3, if not 4 hem sides. Yeah. If you do not want to put actual rice grains under the last patch, you can put some threads of fabric. Use a fabric that has the look of rice, or even make stitches that look like rice grains. So that's pretty cool. Let me see if she mentions it over here. Let's see. The flowers are called fula or hula. Maybe the P and the H silent. I'm gonna have to look at that up. But it doesn't, like in this characteristics of, they don't mention it. And I had read it, other things online, that just this whole little belly, because of the way you're sewing it together, it makes us pooch, and you give it grains of rice so it doesn't get hungry. I love the concept, and I love repeating it over and over again. It's good to pick up quilt books that are new and to read through them, try to support the artist as best you can. So shout out to Carolyn Forster. I'll probably put her link to purchase of this book somewhere in the description, just so that you can admire it. 50 Search Press. I think it normally retails for $24. I was very happy that the library system had it. So this is one of the foundations that I'm using. So the store knows I like scraps, and one of my co-workers was nice enough to bring a whole bag, and it was batiks that were very, well, suitable for the project. And then we had an Aboriginal print, because it's a whole series of Aboriginal fabrics that came from Australia, and it was just a perfect back. So I pressed in approximately a 1/4 inch on all sides, and I trimmed the batting to a little less than that, so it would kind of sort of sit inside of that border.
Yeah, we did this one. It was 5-inch squares.
Okay.
That was with shirts and ties.
Yeah.
Okay, I sit here and I'm thinking, I think I want to build these. I know I've got another one that's meant to be their I can't remember what they're called. Oh, stickers. Did they even tell me? The Occult Sorcerer? I think that's what I want. I have a one for the Occult Sorcerer. No. Okay, let's get some of this stuff out of the way. I've got way too many layers on this desk. So I've been making a lot of quilts at work, and this time my goal is a nice slow one. I use a pretty strong needle. I heard from another one, from a coworker, that you just use white thread. Me, I was thinking of using something cute or something variegated, but she said they make it with white. I think I have enough pins here. And I've been enjoying this, but I have a whole box of thimbles I got off Amazon. I think this biggie, maybe? No, that was... What was the one I was just using? I think it's this guy. Yeah, because I think I was using this needle because I did a whole binding of a small baby quilt, and now like it's still a little numb. I tried using the little pad right there, and I just found it just sort of fail. So we're gonna move that thread over. I showed it a little love, so it's not gonna make too much of a mess. And it's a little stronger than what's at work, so it should hold up better, because I usually end up sewing and this starts cutting through it. I got some pins, and they say short pins. Okay, on my phone is a picture of how I want it set up, so I gotta find that. Of course I'm not. Come on, where are you? I don't think I took it with the other camera. Probably I did. Yeah, I think I took it with the other one. Oh, no. I took it with, oh, there it is. Okay. So that's the goal. So we start with, I see the red. Behave. Let's just turn off that. Okay, so we start with, there's a red. That's on the side. That's right there. That's right there. That's right there. And I pressed it a little bit. Okay. And you pin it down. So I finger pressed it. The batting is a little bit smaller than your back. Then you actually iron that flat down. Oh, and what I'm using is a piece of Aboriginal fabric that came out a few years ago. And the top is scraps I got. So at work I'm famous for, I love the scraps. So, just move this so you can see what I'm doing. I prefer scrap quilting. I'm known for, I'm a scrapper. So someone had all of these left over from her quilt. And I'm like, they're perfect for this project. So I had just, Pinterest was kind enough to show me the concept under scrap quilting, I think. Okay, so it works like this. You fold it, and then this is on the inside, and then the front and the back get joined, so you don't even have binding. You pin everything down. At least you try to. Without jabbing yourself. Of course, all of my pins are found. I call them the treasures that are left on the floor, personally. Though, I've noticed with batiks, they really don't want to be jabbed with pins. And you just overlap. And since I'm always in need of a placemat or something to, actually I might make that a little smaller, or not. Okay, these are funny. They're nice, but they're funny. The pin, that is. And I don't know if this stuffing should be inside like this or just like on the outside. So I think it just depends on how it lands. I think right now I'm stuffing it in there, kind of. I think the only danger with this is jabbing yourself with a pin. And yeah, this one. So I like this one, so I'm gonna cut this one down and probably this one down. I don't have one of those fancy, like, I've seen someone use something like looks like a bone folder, but I could probably just batiks are very cool. They're very cool. And traditionally, I think they're making way bigger things with this style of quilting because their scraps are way bigger. Oh, we don't do it that way. I might just get my little clover ready because I'll make this less painful. I mean, I'll still burn myself. If I don't pick myself with a pin, I'll burn myself. Actually, how does that? I'm gonna have to bring this down anyways, since the next row sort of starts there. And I think they pin out like, I mean, that makes this thing incredibly dangerous if you're pinning everything. Like you get the first and then you got pins all over it, like so. Just to give you an example, though I think their pins run this way. Horizontal instead of vertical. Oh yeah, I found this one. Looks like a marble. Cool, ain't it? Let's see if you can see it. No, you can't see it. Nope. But it looks like a marble. I'm so proud of this one. Anyways. Then I'm going around the corner. Let's see what they look like. Then I think I want this and then a brown. Oh, this is going to be my so-called belly. Okay, maybe it goes that away. Oh no, I separate them by color. Okay. Greens, kind of the ones that are kind of brownish. Pinkies. I used that, and then I think it's the fatter of the two. It's funny that my picture here is greener than, I think it's that piece. I only have two. No, it's this guy. Is it the little one? It's either that. I think it's this. Yeah. So I'm going to pin these down. And then it's just a running stitch. I mean, it's crazy easy. Those pins. So I don't want to get rid of that. And actually, I should have gone this way. I mean, we read this way, but I sew this way. That's going to be problematic. I might have to go in the other direction. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. And I've been learning not to put so much long thread because it just takes a beating when it's hand sewn this way. Ugh, of course, I'm having trouble. My hands are super dry. It's sticking to my hands. Oh, I gotta show her some more love because it's curling. So we're not going to start at the very beginning. We're going to start a little ways in. Oh, already have it. Thank goodness, I just started. Oh, and when I'm using Coats and Clark, it's all purpose, but it's a 30 weight. I mean, it feels really heavy compared to what I've been using at work. And it's just a traditional running. Wow, this material is gonna hurt me. Wow, that's tough stuff. Oh my goodness, it's gonna catch on every single pin. That's what it's gonna do. I might just do a great big running stitch. Will it be uniform? I doubt it. Doubt it, doubt it, doubt it. And now my goal is to, I'm gonna go across here and most of this area. We'll see how far I get. Okay, little change. I had to change my thread, make it shorter. Well, kept the same thread, made it shorter, used a slightly smaller needle. That's where I ended up. Let's work with a new thread. And the end, that's folded and that's folded, so I could start a new row. It's hard to go through the fabric because batik, very, very thick. And this is very thin batting, but it's still putting up a fight. We're getting there. Oh, we just started. Okay, I reached from there all the way there. And let's see, what am I doing now? So, doing one of these, little brown each, and where is it? Oh, one of these. How many of these do I have? I use it elsewhere, okay. Right, so I'm trying different pins too. These are the cheap ones from Walmart, which I'm not a big fan of. I already have a little thinner, like normal pins that don't have heads on them, which might be easier, I don't know. And these are used for my very small crafts. 39, 1 1/4, size 17. These are my finest ones, and I think I might be using these next. Okay, so doing that, and then it comes across with the yellow. Now that's in the middle, so there's a littler one. Yellow. That one. Yellow. Then red. One of the little baby blues. I think it's that one. Yep. Pin all these down and see how we go. Okay, so I changed the blue to a longer ones so that matches up a little better. I don't think this is going to get any easier. But I think I do like these little pins. I've always loved these pins. These stink. And off we go. And it's not easy getting it through all these layers. Usually at this point you would sew a little thing called flowers, but I'm not going to do that. I know culturally, but then I'm not, you know, I'm only using some of the technique. Okay, here's how it is. So I move the pins inward. I do like the effect of the white thread. So the next row is about 1 inch. Well, it's a finger width. Maybe I should use a pinky. Well, no, pretty much the same. So I'll do that all the way around, and then I start I want to start laying over the next layer. Now it's sealed up. And what I've been doing is leaving them on the inside, tying them, and then dragging them through. Those great big stitches. It is pretty brutal. I don't know when I started this, but it's taken me this long just to do this far. Oh, I'm hoping I finish by the end of the week. This pretty sunshine. So I am noticing it's starting to bunch that way, but that's pretty good. I started that second row here, and the stitches go down to about there. That's where I quit because my fingers are hurting. It's way easier here. Well, this was way easier because I'm not trying to get 4 layers together plus some batting. But now I get to pick out what we're doing. Kind of excited. I mean, this is coming together, well, slower than I was expecting, but maybe I'm a slow hand sewer. Well, probably now I am, yeah. Okay, so out of the scraps, I think this is my next level. I'm going to pin these down, and then I'm going to start sewing. Okay, here's what we got pinned down. Had to get a little creative. You do, and I'm finding that it's safer to fold both sides and then see how it comes together and then unfold them when you don't have a proper overlap or you need more overlap. Like that part pops out. That's pretty good. We're getting there. I mean, there's still a lot of sewing to do, but at least I've got a lot pinned down. Okay, I'll have to say, I'm starting to lose my patience with this. I don't know how. I mean, knowing that I have a sewing machine and seeing other people do this with a sewing machine, I'm losing my mind. So, I'm going to show you how I introduce a new thread. Because it wears out the thread pretty quickly. So there's the old Here's the new. I do a couple stitches. And sometimes this stuff is so thick, it's just painful to do this. Can't do like a simple run and stitch. Sometimes you have to, you know, in and out. And that's a waste of time. And it doesn't matter if I don't pick the right pair, but I could do a double knot here. But just gonna do a normal. Then with tweezers, I'm gonna unpin that, but I'm gonna pin it again later. And just run it through. At least find a spot I can run it through. And during the first row, I could just drag it out, but it's harder inside it, so. Oh, let's repin that. Just keep going. And I know they're finger width apart, but I'm losing patience, so I'm just going to be following the line, and then eventually I'll come back in, but I might like go like that and then come back and around. I don't know, might make it interesting. Oh, and I switched to, where'd it go? Did I lose it already? I did. Oh, there it is. Switch to this. These are the, I bought a, I did have one really, really nice one. Lost that. So on Amazon, they had a set for like $4. All of these. 2 big ones, 2 little ones. This that I haven't quite figured out how to use. Mostly I was using this, but again, it's hard to find the sweet spot, and I think this does it. Because it's almost impossible to do a running stitch unless I change my needles every once in a while. Like this stitch was easy. But when it's multiple layers, especially this batik, it's just brutal. Just trying to get it through. You can tell my needle's already bent. I've already bent the eye. And I'm just gonna keep going. Okay, so I finished a row, and now I'm gonna show you how I pretty much it's not bind off, but you know, tie off. I mean, it's nice that they have this, because then you can just sort of tuck it in there. There we go. Ooh. And you know what, for quilting, I usually wrap it around 3 times, but for quilting, I just wrap it around 2. It's kind of like not back stitching to anchor your stitch. Now I'm going to put those pins back. because I've been generally just, if I loosen somebody, make it nice and tight-ish. And I'm gonna finish this bit. I gotta tie that bit because I don't like loose threads. And I'm gonna go back and put this on and go around here a little because I think that's the goal for me, is to put on the next layer after that. Yeah, that's what I'll do. One thing I noticed was my pieces were getting smaller. Not only getting smaller because you sort of fold in the seam allowance, but the actual running stitch makes them smaller. So if you do this on your own, make sure to have a lot of extra pieces that you like, that you don't mind sort of, you know, giving up the sort of arrangement you decide on. Because most of this is also supposed to be kind of spontaneous too, which is why I really like this form of quilting. One word one of the authors used was auditioning her pieces. I really like that idea. I mean, you're going to be doing this for a while, up and down, trying to decide what you want. It would be here and here. Though I feel bad, maybe that this one's not going to be my... We're going to have to see. So we'll just try to pin these guys down. We'll see how these come together. I think that works. So I'll be reviewing this little clip so I can find it. This is good. Okay. Okay, I'm kind of fighting with this. Every time I pull it apart, I get confused. So I'm going to pull this off. I'm going to push this out of the way. I've already rearranged from what I was deciding on. So I think it's that. Oop. There's a great deal of fiddling. So that one works. And I just have to get this one in, where I'm going to do it like that. I'm going to do it at an angle, because it's fighting so hard. Or I can just, wait, okay. Angle isn't working, but I can do that. And that works. Okay, now we got 3 pieces left. No, 2. So this guy can go right there. So I can probably put that one there. And then fold all corners. So we'll do that. That is pretty big. I'm gonna need 1 more piece. I did run out, huh? I don't know. I mean, this one should go here, so I just need 1 more piece to go here. Okay, I found a piece. I hate to cut up these big pieces. Of course, it doesn't match anything in here, but I can make this do. Let's see how it fits. Oh, just barely. Why? There we go. There we go. We did pretty good. I mean, I've did just that one a little more. There we go. Ooh. There we are. Now I just have to sew it all up. But let's get some rice. And I might put maybe a little piece of this, sew it with the rice, and then slip it in there since I want to use it. Okay, let's go find my rice. Okay, got some rice. I'm gonna make a little packet out of this. I got a little too much rice. teeny quilt. So only needs a couple grains, I think. There we go. Now I'm just going to sew it up. And I'm going to end up just doing all those edges instead of the way it's supposed to be. But then this is inspired by the Seeee-Dee quilt or the Kawandi quilt. So I guess I'm taking some creative license. Okay, let's get sewing. Almost there. I got a pin right here, a few pins there. Relatively flat. I didn't get that bunching, but it's because I think I pre-pinned it all over the place. Almost there. I did change my needle. Okay, I think I'm as done as I'm going to be, at least for tonight. I mean, there's still some gaps. I know that one, that one. So I need to go back and keep going, but I think that's where I'm going to stop for now. And it did bunch on the other side. Like there's a little pudgy spot. And you know, there's the rice right there. So I think I'm done for the day. This is my take on a Kawandi quilt. Not terrible for a first try, and the material was really hard. I mean, if you're using fabric that's used, then it would be way softer, way looser, and easier to sew like this. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.